Finding You Again. Chapter 1. The Number That Never Answered. The barbecue joint smelled like smoke and soy sauce. Mia Chen slumped over the table, beer in hand, words slurring together. I'm tired, Grace. Tired of pretending I'm fine being alone while everyone around me pairs off like it's Noah's fucking Ark. She waved her bottle. My college roommate just announced twins. Twins! Meanwhile, I can't get a second date to save my life. I squeezed her shoulder. My 4-year-old daughter Nina was asleep at my mom's. Safe. Loved. Mine alone. Mia's phone buzzed. She squinted at it, then thrust it at me. Can you tell whoever this is that I'm busy drinking my feelings? I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. Mia, this could be important. She face-planted onto her folded arms. I answered. Hello? This Mia's phone? A woman's voice, professional but concerned. Yes, I'm her friend Grace. We're at South Loop Barbecue. Table 8, right? I'm 3 tables over. Silver hair, red jacket. I looked up. A woman in her 60s waved. I'm Dorothy Chen, her mother. Can you make sure she gets water? I'd come over, but she told me last week she needed space from family judgment. I smiled despite myself. I'll take care of her. Thank you, dear. And tell her the judgment is actually concern, but she's 31, so she won't believe that yet. After Dorothy hung up, I ordered water and carbs. Mia revived enough to eat fries, complain about her mother's psychic abilities, and eventually Uber home. I walked to my car alone, pulling my jacket tighter against the October wind. My phone rang. Unknown number. Probably Dorothy checking in. Hello? Grace Shaw? A man's voice. Low, careful. My stomach dropped. Yes? This is Jack Lowe. We met 4 years ago. At Murphy's Bar on 3rd Street. You wrote your number on a napkin. He paused. I never stopped looking for you. The parking lot tilted. Murphy's Bar. One perfect night with a stranger whose name I learned between the 2nd and 3rd drink. Who made me laugh so hard I cried? Who touched me like I was something precious he'd been searching for his whole life? Who left at dawn and never called? How did you find me? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Hired an investigator 6 months ago. Your number was disconnected. The bar closed. But you mentioned your boutique, Shaw's Intimates. There are 3 in the state. I called them all today. He exhaled. Can we talk? In person? Why now? Because I finally have something worth saying. I should have hung up. Should have protected the life I'd built from the wreckage of that night. Instead, I said, tomorrow. 2:00. My shop. I'll be there. The line went dead. I sat in my car, shaking, while the truth I'd carried for 4 years pressed against my ribs. The man I'd tried to find the father of my daughter had just found me. Chapter 2. What Time Does to Truth. He arrived at 158. I watched through the window as he parked a black sedan, not the motorcycle I remembered. He sat for a moment, hands on the wheel, before getting out. Broader shoulders now. Same straight posture. A scar along his jaw that hadn't been there before. He saw me watching and stopped. We stared at each other through glass and 4 years of silence. I opened the door. Grace. Jack. Up close, the changes were sharper. New lines around his eyes. A wariness that hadn't existed when he was 28 and invincible. Thank you for seeing me, he said. Come in. He followed me inside, his gaze taking in the boutique, the silk and lace in the windows. Yes, but also the wall of practical cotton basics, the comfortable bras in extended sizes, the post-surgery pieces displayed with dignity instead of pity. You built this, he said. It wasn't a question. After you disappeared, I needed something that was mine. He flinched. I didn't disappear. He stopped. Can we sit? I gestured to the small seating area I used for fittings. Saturday. I was deployed the morning I left your apartment, he said. Emergency earthquake relief in a classified zone. They took our phones at the airfield. By the time I got mine back 2 months later, your number was disconnected. I went to the bar. Closed. I had your first name and a memory of your face. He pulled something from his pocket, a napkin, yellowed and creased from folding. My handwriting, Grace. 5550147. I kept this, he said. Brought it on every deployment. Reminder that something good existed outside the rubble. He set it on the table between us. When I got stateside for good last year, I hired someone to find you. It took 6 months. I would have kept looking for 6 more. The anger I'd nursed for years felt suddenly childish. You could have tried harder at the beginning. You're right. No defensiveness. Just acknowledgement. I was arrogant. Thought I'd find you easily once I was back. Didn't account for how big the world is when someone doesn't want to be found. I wasn't hiding. Weren't you? His gaze was steady. Changed a number. Moved. You made a life that didn't include me because you thought I'd ghosted you. You did ghost me. From my perspective. I know. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. I'm not here to make excuses. I'm here because I owe you an explanation. And because he stopped. Because that night meant something to me. You meant something. And I need to know if I ruined that completely or if there's anything left to salvage. Why does it matter? It's been 4 years. Because I've spent 4 years trying to forget you and failing. He said it simply. And because you answered when I called. You could have hung up. You could have refused to meet me. But you're here. I looked at my hands. At the ring finger that had stayed empty because no one else measured up to a memory. What do you want, Jack? Honestly, I want to start over. Take you to dinner. Learn who you are now, not just who you were 4 years ago. He paused. But I'll settle for you not hating me. I don't hate you. That's a start. Silence stretched between us. Not uncomfortable. Testing. I have a daughter, I said finally. His expression didn't change. How old? 4. I watched him do the math. Watched the moment it clicked. Grace, her name is Nina. She's smart and funny and perfect. And she's mine. Is she? He stopped. Am I don't know what you're asking. Yes, you do. I stood. I think you should go. He rose slowly. Okay. But Grace, if there's even a chance, there isn't. The lie tasted like copper. He studied me for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone. This is my number. The one I've had for 6 years. It won't change again. He wrote it on the back of a business card, Jack Lowe, Lowhart Security Consulting, and set it next to the napkin. Call me if you change your mind. Or don't. But know that I'm not running this time. He walked to the door. Stopped. For what it's worth, I would have stayed. If I'd known, I would have stayed. Then he was gone. I sank into the chair, picked up the napkin, and let myself cry for the first time in 4 years. Chapter 3. The cost of telling Mia showed up at my apartment that night with wine and takeout. Mom ratted you out, she said, pushing past me. Said you looked emotionally compromised at the barbecue place. Her words, not mine. I'm fine. Liar. She set the food on my coffee table. Spill. So I told her. The bar. The night. The 4 years. The phone call. Holy shit, she said when I finished. That's Grace. That's a mess? A romance novel. She grabbed my hands. He hired an investigator. He kept the napkin. That's like swoon-worthy levels of devotion. Or stalking. There's a fine line. She grinned, then sobered. Did you tell him about Nina? He figured it out. And I asked him to leave. Grace, I can't do this, Mia. I can't let him in just for him to leave again when the next emergency happens. Nina deserves stability. Nina deserves a father. She has me. That's not the same. Mia squeezed my hands. Look, I get it. You're scared. But Grace, what if he's telling the truth? What if he really would have stayed? That's the problem. I'll never know for sure. She was quiet for a moment. Then, you know what I realized today, while my mother judged my life choices from 3 tables away? I'm alone because I'm afraid. Afraid of wanting something and losing it. Afraid of being vulnerable and getting hurt. She met my eyes. You're doing the same thing. You're so busy protecting yourself from the possibility of pain that you're guaranteeing it. That's not fair. It's completely fair. She stood. I'm going to the bathroom. While I'm gone, look at your daughter's face and tell me she wouldn't want to know her father. If you can do that honestly, I'll drop it. She left. I walked to Nina's room. Watched her sleep with one arm flung over her stuffed elephant, her face peaceful in the nightlight's glow. She had Jack's eyebrows. His straight nose. The same way of frowning in her sleep like she was solving problems in her dreams. I pulled out my phone. Stared at the business card I'd shoved in my pocket. And before I could stop myself, I texted, "Can we talk? Tomorrow?" His response came immediately, anytime. Anywhere. My apartment is less than #0. 6# is greater than 7 p.m. Nina will be asleep. I'll be there. I set the phone down and wondered what the hell I was doing. Chapter 4. The Shape of Honesty. Jack arrived at 700 exactly, carrying a box. What's that? I asked, letting him in. Proof I'm not a flight risk. He set it on my kitchen table. Inside deployment records, medical discharge papers, a lease agreement dated 6 months ago. I'm out of active duty. Medical discharge last year. I started a security consulting firm with a former colleague. I bought a condo. I'm building a life that doesn't involve leaving at 0500. I looked through the papers. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. He leaned against the counter. You need to know I'm not that guy anymore. The one who thought he could balance a relationship and unlimited deployments. I learned the hard way that you can't. What happened? Earthquake relief. Turkey, 2021. 3 months pulling bodies from concrete. We saved a lot of people. His jaw tightened. Lost more. Came back with PTSD and a medical discharge recommendation. Spent a year in therapy learning how to function. He met my eyes. I'm not broken, but I'm different. And one thing I learned is that the things that matter, people who matter you, don't let them go without a fight. Is that what this is? A fight? If it needs to be. He moved closer. Grace, I know I fucked up. I know I don't have the right to ask for anything. But if there's a chance that Nina is mine, if there's a chance I've spent 4 years with a daughter who doesn't know me, his voice cracked. I need to know. I wrapped my arms around myself. What if you meet her and decide it's too much? What if you realize you don't actually want this? That won't happen. You can't know that. Yes, I can. He closed the distance between us. Grace, I've been looking for you for 4 years. I've imagined 1,000 versions of this conversation. Not once did any of them end with me walking away. He paused. Do I deserve her? Probably not. Do I deserve you? Definitely not. But I'm asking anyway because the alternative is spending the rest of my life wondering what if. I looked at him, really looked. Saw the exhaustion and hope warring in his expression. The vulnerability it must have cost to show up here with proof of his worst moments. She has your eyebrows, I said quietly. And your way of frowning when she concentrates. She's brilliant and stubborn, and she asks 1,000 questions about everything. A smile tugged at my mouth despite everything. She wants to be a doctor astronaut. Says there's no reason she can't do both. Jack's eyes were bright. She sounds perfect. She is. I took a breath. And she deserves to know her father. If you're really sure, I'm sure. Then we do this slow. You meet her. We see how she reacts. We don't tell her until we're certain you're staying. Agreed. And Jack? If you hurt her, if you promise to stay and then leave, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life. Fair. He smiled, cautious. When can I meet her? Saturday. 11 a.m. We're going to the Children's Museum. You can come with us. She'll think you're just someone I'm seeing, which I am. Right? My heart stumbled. Are we? I'd like to be. He stepped back, giving me space. But we can figure that part out later. Right now, my priority is Nina. Okay. I walked him to the door. Saturday. He paused on the threshold. Thank you. For giving me a chance. Don't make me regret it. I won't. After he left, I leaned against the door and let out a breath I'd been holding for 4 years. Chapter 5. Small Hands, Careful Hearts. Saturday arrived with October sunshine and Nina's excited chatter about dinosaurs. They have a T-Rex that roars, Mommy. Can we see it first? Or should we see the ocean room? Does ocean come before dinosaurs in the alphabet? Doesn't work that way, baby. Why not? It should. Organization is important. The doorbell rang. Nina bounced. Is that Grandma? No, sweetheart. It's someone I want you to meet. I opened the door. Jack stood there in jeans and a Henley, holding a small wrapped box. Nina peered around my legs. Who are you? I'm Jack. Your mom's friend. Do you like dinosaurs? They're pretty cool. What's your favorite? Ankylosaurus. The one with the club tail. Nina's eyes went wide. That's my favorite. Nobody ever says that one. She grabbed his hand. You can come with us. But you have to promise to read all the information signs, not just look at the fossils. Jack glanced at me, eyebrows raised. I shrugged. I promise, he told Nina solemnly. Good. She tugged him toward the door. Come on, we're gonna be late and the T-Rex gets cranky. At the museum, I watched Jack crouch beside Nina at every exhibit, reading signs in a patient voice while she peppered him with questions. He never rushed her, never checked his phone. Just gave her his complete attention like she was the most important briefing he'd ever received. Why do you think the Triceratops had 3 horns? She asked. Defense mechanism. If a predator came at them, they had multiple weapons. Like a Swiss Army knife. Exactly. She beamed at him. You're smart. Are you a teacher? I used to be a soldier. Is less than #0. 6# is greater than. Now I help companies stay safe. From bad guys? from problems. Sometimes those are bad guys. Sometimes they're just things that could go wrong. She considered this. Like how mommy checks the smoke alarm every month? Just like that. She slipped her hand into his. You can stay for lunch if you want. We're having grilled cheese. Jack's eyes met mine over her head. I'd like that. Lunch turned into the afternoon. The afternoon turned into dinner, Nina insisting Jack try her special mac and cheese recipe, box mac and cheese, with frozen peas, which she claimed was gourmet. This is the best mac and cheese I've ever had, Jack said seriously. I know. Nina took another bite. Mommy's is okay, but mine has more cheese. Your mommy's is perfect, Jack said, still looking at Nina but meaning me. After dinner, Nina declared Jack needed to see her room. I started to object, but he was already being led down the hallway, Nina chattering about her rock collection and the caterpillar she'd found last week. I followed, leaning against the doorframe. Nina showed him everything, her books, her drawings, the mobile of planets hanging over her bed that she'd insisted on arranging by size instead of orbital distance because Jupiter should be first, it's the biggest. This is Saturn, she said, pointing. It has the best rings. When I'm an astronaut, I'm going there first. Why Saturn is less than #0. 6# is greater than because everyone wants to go to Mars. Saturn needs attention too. Jack laughed, a real laugh, unguarded. Fair point. Nina yawned. I'm not tired. Sure you're not, I said. Teeth brushing time. She groaned but complied. When she came back, she climbed into bed and looked at Jack. Are you mommy's boyfriend? I froze. Jack crouched beside her bed. Would that be okay? If I was? She thought hard. Will you leave? No. Promise? Promise. Okay then. She snuggled into her pillow. You can be the boyfriend. But you have to pass the monster check first. The what? The monster check. Every boyfriend has to prove they're brave enough to check for monsters. Jack glanced at me. I mouthed under the bed. Closet, behind the curtains. He nodded. I'm on it. I watched this man, this soldier who'd pulled bodies from rubble, check my daughter's room for monsters with the same serious focus he'd probably given mission briefings. All clear, he reported. No monsters detected. Good work, boyfriend Jack. Nina's eyes were already closing. You passed. I kissed her forehead, turned on her nightlight, and led Jack out. In the living room, he sat on the couch like his legs had stopped working. She's incredible. She is. And she's mine. Yes. He looked at his hands, the same hands that had just checked for monsters, that had held Nina's so carefully at the museum. I've been afraid of a lot of things. Combat. Deployment. Failing the people who counted on me. His voice roughened. But nothing scared me like the idea that I'd never get to do this. Be here. Know her. I sat beside him. You're here now. Thanks to you. He turned to me. I know we're taking this slow. I know we're figuring things out. But Grace, I need you to know I'm all in. Whatever this is, wherever it goes. I'm not running. What if it's too much? What if he kissed me? Not the frantic, desperate kiss of 4 years ago. This was different. Deliberate. A promise made with touch instead of words. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against mine. It's not too much. It's everything. Chapter 6 Building Forward. We told Nina the truth 2 weeks later. Not because we planned to. Because she asked. Why does Jack have the same eyebrows as me? We were at the park. Nina on the swings, Jack pushing, me watching from a bench. Jack stopped mid-push. What do you mean? Our eyebrows. They go like this. She demonstrated the same concentrated scrunch I'd seen on both their faces. And we both like green grapes better than red ones. And we both count steps when we walk. She twisted to look at him. Are you my dad? Jack crouched in front of the swing. Looked at me. I nodded. Yes, he said. I'm your dad. Where were you? Far away. Helping people who were hurt. I didn't know about you, or I would have been here. She processed this with a 4-year-old's logic. But you're here now. I'm here now. Okay. She kicked her legs. Keep pushing. I want to go higher. And that was it. No drama. No crisis. Just acceptance and a swing that needed pushing. That night, after Nina was asleep, Jack and I sat on my balcony with wine and the comfortable silence of people learning each other again. I need to tell you something, he said. Okay. The earthquake. Turkey. We pulled a little girl from the rubble. She was 5. Trapped for 48 hours. When we got her out, he stopped. She looked up at me and said thank you in English. Her parents taught her. They didn't make it, but she did. He stared at his wine. I thought about her every day after. Wondered who was taking care of her. If she was okay. If saving one kid made up for all the ones we couldn't save. Jack, when you told me about Nina, I kept thinking this is my chance. My chance to not be the guy who shows up after the disaster. To be the guy who's there before anything goes wrong. He looked at me. I know that's a lot of pressure to put on a 4-year-old. But Grace, she saved me. You both did. I took his hand. We're not your redemption. I know. But you're my reason. He laced our fingers together. For a long time, I didn't have one. Now I do. What if the PTSD gets bad again? Then I go back to therapy. I manage it. I don't run. He squeezed my hand. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I'm choosing to stay anyway. Okay. Okay? You said I deserved someone who chooses me. So did Nina. I shifted closer. So we're choosing you back. He kissed me like I'd given him something he'd been searching for his whole life. Maybe I had. Chapter 7. What We Build from Ruins. Mia met Jack 3 weeks later at a diner that served breakfast all day. So you're the guy, she said, sliding into the booth. I'm a guy, Jack said carefully. The guy who broke my best friend's heart disappeared for 4 years, then showed back up with deployment records and a security company. Mia, I started. No, he can handle it. She leaned forward. Here's the thing, Jack. Grace is the strongest person I know. She built a business while pregnant. She raised Nina alone. She survived thinking you'd ghosted her. Her voice went sharp. So if you're here because you feel guilty, or because you have some savior complex, or because you think you owe her something, leave now. She doesn't need a martyr. She needs a partner. Jack held her gaze. I'm not here because I feel guilty. I'm here because I fell in love with her 4 years ago and never stopped. I'm here because I have a daughter who checks my room for monsters now, both our rooms, since she appointed herself chief monster inspector. I'm here because when I think about my future, it has Grace and Nina in every version. He paused. And I'm here because your best friend is the only person who ever made me want to be better than I thought I could be. Mia sat back. Okay, then. That's it? That's it. You pass. She stole a fry from my plate. But hurt them, and I know people who know people. You're ex-military. You understand what that means. Understood. She grinned. Good. Now that we've established the ground rules, Nina tells me you passed the monster check. That's no small feat. Kid has standards. Jack smiled. She's thorough. Gets it from her mother. Mia looked at me. So, when's the wedding? I choked on my coffee. Mia, what? You're clearly in love. He's clearly in love. Nina's already calling him Dad. Might as well make it official. It's been 3 weeks. 3 weeks plus 4 years, Jack said quietly. I looked at him. Are you not proposing? Not yet. He took my hand. But I'm also not pretending I don't know where this is going. Mia raised her orange juice. To Grace Shaw, who ran a boutique while pregnant and still found time to accidentally land herself an actual grown man who does monster checks. To Grace, Jack echoed. I shook my head, but I was smiling. You two are ridiculous. And you love us, Mia said. She wasn't wrong. 6 months became a year, became the shape of a life. Jack moved into a place 3 blocks away, close enough to be present, far enough to let Nina adjust. He picked her up from school twice a week. Helped with homework. Attended every doctor's appointment, even the routine ones. Is this normal? I asked one night, watching him quiz Nina on multiplication tables. Doesn't this feel too easy? Easy? He looked up. Grace, I wake up some nights convinced I'm going to lose you both. That you'll realize I don't deserve this and take it back. He returned to the flashcards. But then Nina makes me check for monsters, or you text me about something random, and I remember this is real. I get to keep this. You do, I said. We're not going anywhere. Good. He held up another flashcard. What's 7 times 8? 56, Nina said immediately. That's easy. Ask me a hard one. What's the capital of Indonesia? Jakarta. Come on, Dad. Give me a challenge. Jack met my eyes over her head, and the word Dad hung between us like a victory flag. Chapter 8. The Ask That Mattered he proposed on a Tuesday. Not at a restaurant. Not with a grand gesture. In my apartment after Nina went to sleep, while we did dishes him washing, me drying. Move in with me, he said to the soapy water. We've talked about this. Nina needs stability. I bought a house. I stopped mid-dry. What? 4 bedrooms. Good school district. Backyard for monster hunting. He rinsed a plate, handed it to me. I was thinking Nina gets the biggest bedroom. You and I take the master. Guest room for your mom. Office for you. Jack, and before you ask, yes, I can afford it. Security consulting pays well, especially when you're good at it. He pulled the plug, dried his hands. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring things out. But Grace, I don't want to date you from 3 blocks away. I want to wake up with you. I want to make Nina breakfast. I want to be there when she has nightmares, and when you have bad days, and when life gets messy. That's not a proposal. No. This is... He pulled a box from the drawer where we kept dish towels because of course he'd hidden it there. Grace Shaw. You're the strongest person I've ever met. You built a life from nothing. You raised an incredible daughter alone. You gave me a second chance I didn't deserve. He opened the box. A simple platinum band with 3 small stones. I'm not asking you to need me. I'm asking you to want me. To choose me. To let me spend the rest of my life proving that I choose you back. I looked at the ring. At him. At the life we'd built from missed calls and wrong numbers and 4 years of silence. Yes. Yes? To all of it. The house. The ring. The life. I kissed him. Yes. He slid the ring on my finger. It fit perfectly. From the hallway, are you guys getting married? We turned. Nina stood in her doorway, pajamas wrinkled, hair a mess. How long have you been standing there? I asked. Long enough to hear Dad propose? She patted over. Can I be the flower girl? Absolutely, Jack said. And can we get a dog? Let's start with the house. Fine. But I'm making a list. She yawned. Monster check, Dad. On it. As Jack carried Nina back to her room, her chattering about wedding colors and whether dogs could be ring bearers, I looked at the ring on my finger. It wasn't the proposal I'd imagined at 27, drunk on possibility and a stranger's smile. It was better. Because it was real. Built on time and choice and showing up even when it was hard. The monsters checked under our bed that night found 3 things: a stray sock, a flashlight from monster checking duty, and a family that knew how to fight for each other. Epilogue: What stays? We got married in my mother's backyard on a Saturday in May. Small ceremony. Close friends. Nina as flower girl, wearing a dress she'd picked herself green, because it matches Dad's eyes and my favorite grapes. Mia gave a toast that made everyone cry and laugh in equal measure. Grace told me once that she didn't believe in second chances. Said people show you who they are the first time, and you should believe them. She raised her glass. Turns out she was wrong. Sometimes people show you who they are the first time, and then life gets in the way. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, you get a second chance to show them again. To Jack and Grace. To second chances and first dances and monster checks. We danced in the grass while Nina spun between us, giggling. Later, when the guests had left and Nina was asleep in my mother's guest room, Jack and I sat on the porch steps. No regrets? He asked. Only that it took 4 years. Worth the wait. I leaned against his shoulder. What do you think happens now? Now? He kissed the top of my head. Now we live. We mess up. We figure it out. We check for monsters and buy too many groceries and argue about whose turn it is to do dishes. Sounds boring. Sounds perfect. He was right. It was. The boutique expanded to a second location. The security firm landed a contract with 3 major hospitals. Nina started first grade and announced she'd decided to add paleontologist to her doctor-astronaut career plans. Mia met someone at a work conference, a physical therapist with kind eyes and a terrible sense of humor that matched hers perfectly. Life didn't stop being complicated. Jack still had bad nights when the PTSD flared. I still worried about money and whether I was good enough at this whole parenting thing. Nina still woke up with nightmares sometimes, but we faced it together. And on the nights when everything felt too heavy, we'd do monster checks, all 3 of us, armed with flashlights and determination. Because the monsters were still there. But so were we. And we'd already proven we knew how to fight. The end.